This episode brought to you by Nicholson Realty 2.0, Chuck Sewer, Drain and Plumbing, Raven Choate Robinson Funeral Home.
Welcome to Garage Talk, everybody. And I'm Ted. It's time to rock and roll. We have a couple special guests tonight. Actually, former Grant County Athletes of the Year. We have Mike Mitchener and Shelley Smith Zartman. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we're going to let the lady go first. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing these days.
These days, I work at Keystone RV Company. I am a social media specialist for the company. So I monitor social media. I take all the emails that come into the company. I've worked there for 10 years, and I'm a mother of 5, a grandmother to 8. So very busy schedule and just loving life.
So at the ball court or the ball field
Absolutely.
all the time?
Yes. So one of my granddaughters, she's a volleyball player, so she travels. And then the 2 twins are actually very active in sports right now. They're young, but then I have a niece, Brooke Zartman, which she's an excellent player. You probably heard about her. Mm-hmm. She's actually in the running for next year for Miss Basketball. Uh-huh. So right now she's traveling with the Under Armour team and the Nike team. They got a little bit of a break right now. They are undefeated. They have not been beaten. And then they start back up in July. So she's traveling all around the United States, and she'll be a senior at Warsaw High School. So we follow her everywhere.
Warsaw, famous for Rick Fox.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's awesome. That's a high level exposure right there.
Yeah, correct.
And that's only going to help. But
yeah. Under Armour, there were so many college coaches there.
I'm sure.
I mean, she's committed verbally to a college, but she's got a lot of offers on the table. So,
and if she has a good year, there's going to be a lot more, most likely.
She's going to go Division I for sure. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Mike, what are you doing these days? You've told us before, but has anything changed?
Oh, it changes every day. I'm down in Florida. I've been down there over 30 years. Right now, I'm working at DME Sports Academy, which is a private high school that focuses in on athletics. I'm actually teaching a course called A Passion for Excellence, and it's pretty cool. We teach it after hours, and I actually developed the curriculum with the owner of the school, and it has caught mad fire. We're just teaching the kids common life skills that we don't talk about anymore. It's going to sound so simple, it's not even funny, but speaking without filler words, a proper handshake, the value of eye contact. Mm-hmm. These kids don't get any credit at all in their high school education, and they line up at the door begging to come. It's a 6-week class, and it is absolutely phenomenal. So we might try to encapsulate that and kind of branch out a little bit with it, but it's super cool. It's right in my wheelhouse.
That's what I was going to ask, if you guys would consider branching out, because we touched a little bit on that last time you were here, but that's just amazing. I mean, kids these days need that.
Absolutely.
And you see that from social media.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's unreal how social media has just changed everything.
Right.
I mean, it's got its upside, but I think there's more downside to it, but that's my opinion. Okay, so now we know what you guys are doing right now. Let's go back to your youth, Shelley. Let's go back to Fairmount, Summitville. Did you hang around both places?
Fairmount mainly.
Mostly Fairmount.
Yeah,
so
yeah, I grew up in Fairmount. We moved on the house on Main Street when I was 3 years old, and 6 of us kids, Smith kids, all of us involved in sports. My mother, Sue Smith, was actually the founder of girls softball in our town. She coached and mentored so many young women that actually still to this day come to me and thank me for all that my mother has done for them. And she was actually the first, Madison Grant, when they first implemented softball, my mother was the first coach for that team until they found somebody that, they typically pick somebody that's a teacher.
Right.
So she got them started. She coached me when I played the World Series in Corning, New York. And side funny story about that, I hit a grand slam, and the next time I was up, mom's, of course, the coach on third, and it was 3-0, and she gave me the signal to take it. Well, I didn't. And I hit it over the fence again, an outside pitch. And I'm going around third. I'm looking at her, and she's like, "It's a good thing that ball went over. You've been running for days." She said, "I told you to." I said, "I know. I know you did." I wasn't disciplined on the outside pitch, but I love those. So, yeah, 2 in a row. Then I didn't get pitched to the rest
I'm
of
sure.
that game.
But that's so softball. What other sports were you involved with?
So I played a plethora of sports. So I started out in third grade. So in third grade, we played on the boys' team. So I was on basketball. Through middle school, high school, college, I did volleyball, basketball, and track. Marion, which is now, it was Marion College back in my day. Now it's Indiana Wesleyan. And then I transferred to Ball State. I loved sports. I loved, the camaraderie with teams. I think it develops you to be a very disciplined person. So I enjoyed it. Then I went on to coach. So I coached softball for like 18 years.
Really?
Yeah. In Fairmount, and then I transferred when I moved up to Milford, I coached and ran that. But I also coached 8th grade volleyball for Wawasee and an 8th grade track for 7 years until my kids got to the high school level, and then watched them flourish. So a lot of sports in our family, a lot of running around. The soccer mom thing was really a thing. I mean, I was everywhere. I had a daughter who traveled softball. We were in a different state every weekend. So Jana was an amazing athlete. My daughter Jenna was an amazing track runner, cheerleader. My son Jaron was football, baseball, basketball. And then we just traveled as Mike had that with his children as well.
Yep.
Very busy.
I agree. I mean, there's nothing better in the world than to be a parent of an athlete, especially if you were an athlete when you were younger.
Yep.
I can't ever get enough of that. I'm like Shelley. I coached different levels, different sports. Didn't matter what it was. I was out there working with those kids, and it was just an absolute gift to be able to do that.
And that's about, and even that, but go back to earlier days with you, Mike. You've talked about before. We had three-way recreation. And it was baseball, football, basketball. You were involved in all of them. That carried over into high school, college, and then you get the professional contract. Not many people could say that, and that's But like you mentioned, Shelley, with your mom, how people still remember stuff and the impact she had. That's both of you guys have that as well. I'm sure you still have people come up and say, "I remember when you coached me when I was 8 years old or 10 years old."
Yes.
So coaches do make an impact.
Correct.
And yeah, I think the percentage is high that the majority of them have a positive impact. The negativity, well, that's coming from mommy telling Johnny that, well, you're the best one on the team. You should be playing more.
Right.
So, I blame a lot of that on the parents. And
When we coached, I was real active in youth football in Florida. When we coached down there, I helped run the league with another individual. In our age groups, we had football and cheer. I think it went from 8 years old to 15. And we taught both the girls and the guys the power of discipline. So when we showed up to a football game, whether it be home or away, every kid at every level, from 15 years old all the way down to 8 years old, was dressed exactly the same. We walked in lines. And some people might think that's just a little over excessive. Let the kids have fun. But here's the difference. Kids have a heck of a lot more fun winning than they do losing. And when you win and you're disciplined, the lessons that are taught will carry those kids for the rest of their lives.
yeah.
And that's what we did, and we were very proud of that. And then sure enough, kind of like what Shelley was saying, we set them off to high school, and we became fans.
Yeah.
And it all went away. Everything just went away. They could wear their helmet if they wanted to. They didn't have to. They could run in shorts, pads. And And I'm just sitting there going, please don't do that. And the best year we ever had, and we had remarkable kids in youth football. The best year they had in high school was 500.
Really?
And it was just so disappointing. But we had a lot of kids go out and play college ball. My kid was one of them. So it is what it is.
Right.
You know, we'll start them off and then cut them loose to somebody else, and hopefully they'll just make them better. But it kind of doesn't always work out that way.
Well, we were like the feeder program to the high school. And then came the participation where everybody got to play, whether you had skill or not.
Yeah.
That was kind of frustrating as a coach to see that. But I remember one year I was coaching softball, and I had another coach who said, well, it's my daughter's turn to pitch. I said, well, we don't do that. This is the tournament championship. It's not her turn. And see, my daughter happened to be the other pitcher. And I said, she's pitching. We're going to win.
Right.
We're not going to get a second place. We're in here to win.
Yeah.
So when they started doing, I think that's what the participation stuff. That was kind of frustrating because they want to win.
Yes.
They don't want to say, oh, thank you, I'm playing because mom wants me to, but I really don't want to.
Right.
You want the people that have all heart and like what Mike was saying, be a good human being first, you know, be coachable. So that's kind of, and you're right about some of the parents. I know he and I both went through that. I had a parent actually show up at an awards program. Then she said her daughter was MVP, and she was an MVP. So, I mean, she wasn't selected. So it gets a little crazy sometimes.
It is. And like you mentioned, you know, participation, you know, okay, that's T-ball, coach's pitch. The older they get, the more mature they get, you're going to, okay, now let's get these kids that are a little more fine-tuned, more involved. And, you know, and it's hard. You know, I coach at the junior high here, and it's hard. You know, they want to keep as many kids as they can, but nowadays you just can't. I mean, you can't.
So watch this. Shelley, tell me how many participation trophies you won when you were playing.
0.
Same for me. We just didn't have them.
No.
And it wasn't like we were trying to teach these kids that you win at all costs. That's not what we were doing.
Right.
But, you know, we're good enough coaches, both her and I, that we can make a kid better with his skills or her skills. And maybe next year they'll get more of an opportunity to play a little bit more and a little bit more. But they have a responsibility for going out and refining their game in the summertime.
Yeah, exactly.
When the coaches aren't around. And when they come back the next season and we see how they've improved, they're going to play more.
Yeah.
And eventually you groom these kids who become super successful. Your mom did it with you. My dad did it with me. You get groomed to become more and more successful each year. And before you know it, you end up in high school and you do some pretty special things. So that's kind of what happened to Shelley and I.
That's true. I mean, that's you get, you know, but then you've also got those kids that are late blossomers.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a kid in 7th grade basketball or football that not very good, but like you said, if they're putting in the work in the off season, that's when you become an athlete.
Right.
You're gonna.
Right. When he and I played, you could play multiple sports, and
Yes.
it was not. It's kind of frowned upon today. Like my niece Brooke is a really good softball player as well. She had to make a choice. Do I want to play softball or basketball? Well, she chose basketball, of course, and she excels in that.
Right.
But I mean, we got to play multiple sports, and it was very enjoyable.
Yeah, you go from one sport right into the next.
Yeah.
And I
Correct.
can remember that, and I'm sure Mike remembers it too. I remember we had baseball practice in February. If it was over 35 degrees, you're out on the parking lot.
That's right.
Right.
You know,
That's
it's not anymore.
Right.
Well, I can't say that. Or, you know, our baseball team, I did see them. Now they can go on the football field, on the turf, in practice.
Yeah. That didn't exist when we were
No,
around.
yeah, that's but
People ask me, why did you play so many different sports? And the answer is simple. I like to win.
yeah, that's,
You can't win if you don't play.
nope,
You might lose every game, but you absolutely cannot win if you don't play.
you're right. You're
And
right.
I like to win. I don't care if it's checkers, badminton, playing Shelley Smith on one-on-one in basketball.
Or name that tune.
Name
He's
that
not
tune.
kidding.
I'm going to win. I like to compete. That's just me.
Even when we go to NASCAR at Daytona, we got to pick the top 3 people we think are going to win.
Really?
He's got it all. Yes. Trust me when I say
I want to win.
yes.
It's that simple. And her husband, Brent, can't stand it. Drives him crazy.
He likes to win too. So these two together are quite hilarious.
Yep.
And have become wonderful friends, which, it makes it nice.
Yes, it does. And that's but speaking of participation trophies, it's like, this little necklace is a medallion now that everybody's going to get one.
Right.
Which, it's the thing, back in the day, it's like, one person gets MVP of the team.
Yes.
But now everybody, it's basically the same award. It's the same thing they're all getting. But at least in the lower levels, youth sports, but hey, you're getting them outside doing something.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Get them off the electronics and go out and do something. But all right, let's jump into when you guys were named Grant County Athletes of the Year. Hold this up.
40 years ago.
Oh, stop.
40 years.
40
It
years
wasn't
ago.
that long ago.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yes. 1985.
Get it on the camera there. And
Oh, no.
paper's a little bit worn.
It's yellow. It was 25 cents.
25 cents. I mean, and look how many pages there is.
I know.
I feel like I blazed a trail out west or something.
But that, I mean,
You
that
want
had
me to hold that up?
that had to be special for you guys.
Oh, 100%.
That's just
Oh, no.
When I got the call, Ken Hill called me and I asked him, I go, who got the boy? I won't tell anybody. He goes, Mike Mitchener. I'm like, yes. Well deserved. Miss Cinewall didn't have a very good winning record.
right.
And it was always 0-11. And we knew that at Madison Grant when we were playing. But when he said, we're not going to do this anymore, his group of guys changed it. So well deserved. I mean, across the board. I mean, he's a leader. He's a born leader. I mean, I'm 58 and he still leads me. He still tells me,
That's
you do.
impressive.
You're a good leader.
Oh, I thought you were getting ready to say something about my age or something. I thought you were going to take a shot at me. We're the same age.
I know. We're both 58.
Yeah, I'm older.
You don't have to say that anymore.
58.
He kept
Stop it.
he kept his hair though. I didn't.
Yep. Turned colors, but
He's blonde now. He's copying me.
stop it.
So, what'd you think when you got the call that year, Mike?
Oh, I was very, very proud. I mean, it was great. As Shelley mentioned, it was great for Mississippi High School. There hadn't been but just a couple that had ever been chosen from Mississippi, so I was pretty proud to receive that. And when I found out that Shelley was involved, I thought, there you go.
Yep.
And her and I have played a couple of games against each other when we were in high school. We played a little 1-on-1 or something. And, man, she was not easy to beat, even though I had her by about 1.5 feet in height. She was a bulldog, man. But
I was just fast back in the day, and he was taller.
Right.
yeah.
So, well, a lot of that too. I know you went to your town park, played.
Yeah.
I went to my town park, and like you remember Joe Schweitzer, and you mentioned Jay Edwards.
Yeah.
He would come to Fairmount, and they said, "We're going to teach you how to shoot without eating the ball." I'm 5'4". So I learned to shoot around them and work around them, and him as well, Mike as well. So, I mean, I was down there playing with the guys in the summer
That's
in Fairmount. They would show up too. I mean, it was not like it was a camaraderie. It was like to make each other better. It wasn't any fighting or anything towards that. It was just, let's make ourselves better. You make yourself better by playing against people who are better than you.
right.
And that's what I did.
Back then, I'm going to say it, and it's probably going to blow back on me a little bit, but back then it was Marion and everybody else.
Yeah.
So if Marion was playing Madison Grant, I was a Madison Grant fan.
Right,
If Marion was playing Bennett High School, I was a Bennett fan.
Yeah.
And those athletes at Marion always brought out the best in us. Always. I mean, some of them are still very good friends of mine. Terrific competition. They were good.
They were.
I mean, they were like the best in the country, I think. Weren't they, Ted, in basketball or something?
For the 87 year, they were think they were USA Today #1
Yeah,
team.
they were undefeated. The year I graduated, they were undefeated and won the state championship. They won it 3 years in a row, didn't they, Shelley?
Yep. Yep.
Crazy. They were good.
They were. They had the athletes back then.
Well, we beat Marion because it wasn't we didn't have class basketball.
Right. Yep.
So that year, actually in '85, Oak Hill was the best team with Rhonda McCoy, Kathy. Can't think of everybody on that team because I'm old. But they ended up getting beat in the first round by Marion, and then we got in the championship round with Marion, and they had us down by 20 at halftime. And I went in that locker room and I told these girls, Robin Scott and I were like, I'm not taking my jersey off. I'm a senior. You play with heart. Let's go.
Yep.
I took like 5 charges from Deborah Walker in a row at the midcourt line. And she ended up being a teammate of mine. I said, dribble with your head up, Deborah. Do you remember when we beat you in sectionals?
That's
Get
right.
your head up. You plowed me over.
That's right. But yeah, like you said, and that's Conrad and I talk about that a lot. Once Miss Cinewall's done for the season, if somebody else is still going, we're rooting for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We really do, and that's Miss Cinewall. They've turned the corner a little bit the last few years, but we got some sectional titles in multiple sports now. So
Yeah, it's changed a little bit.
hopefully that's
I love coming back and watching Mrs. Cinewall play. I do. I really do.
But speaking of that, Madison Grant's got new turf over there now
Yeah.
on our baseball and softball fields.
Yeah, they do. And their softball team's really good.
They're good.
They've been good.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah,
it's-
yeah. I know Danny Justice coached for several years.
Yep.
He was my coach. Do you remember Adrian's Angels back in the day? That slope. Okay, so
Yep.
I was on that team, and so I was playing. You actually came to a game. Do you remember in Gas City when I played years ago? You and your mom, and I hit
Are
the
you
ball.
kidding me? You got to be kidding. You're joking, right?
No, I'm not kidding.
How am I supposed to remember those things?
You know what he remembers from the game? After the game, we annihilated that team. He goes, Shelley, you can run really fast. I remember you saying that to me.
So I'm assuming there's some inside the park home runs, maybe.
Yeah.
That's funny.
What position did you play?
For Adrian's Angels,
Yeah.
I was third base, and if I wasn't third base, I was left field.
You were covering the bunt.
I was.
You must be fast.
I was back in the day, I was fast. Today, not so much. My kids don't believe me that I was fast.
You got to race them. You got to get.
No.
You got to get out there and
Fred
race 'em.
Flintstone.
And that's how,
I know. I got his feet.
Oh, my.
He's got his car too.
Yeah.
But like we mentioned earlier, we've all got kids, and now we get into grandkids, and it's you look back, your goal was even as successful as you guys were in school and in life, your professions, you want them to be more successful.
Correct.
Whether it's sports, my job, my relationships, and that says a lot. And it's like I said, with you guys coaching, I guarantee there's people gonna remember stuff you guys don't even remember you taught them.
I hope so.
I hope so. I hope I made an impact on somebody.
I'm sure.
I mean, my daughter Jonna, she was an outstanding athlete. And fun thing about that, she went to Wawasee. She was a sophomore on the varsity team. They were #1 in the state, so we got invited to the Classic at Newcastle. So I'm sitting there. Guess who comes up beside me? Coach Holloway. My high school loved him. He worked me so hard. He came up. He goes, Shelley, what are you doing here? And I go, well, my daughter, she's a sophomore. She's 5th person off the bench, or 6th, sorry. And he goes, oh, great. And she came off the bench. And I because I just got done saying she doesn't get a whole lot of playing time yet because she's a sophomore. And they had a very talented group. And Jonna ripped 3 threes right in a row with him sitting beside me. And I said,
Wow.
I set up a little higher. I was like, I taught her all she knows. And I got it from you. He was just like, man, she should play more.
Yeah, that's a great guy right there.
Yes.
And unfortunately, they just lost his father-in-law
Yeah.
a month ago. You and Wilbur's good friends.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean, that's-
actually meeting up with Wilbur this evening just
Yeah.
to kind of
Yeah.
share some stories because, my dad died 4 months ago and Wilbur's dad
Yep.
just passed away. So
Yeah.
somebody told me that, he just wanted somebody to talk to. So we'll get together and have a couple cold beers and celebrate our dads together.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
That's awesome.
See, that's what I mean. You still make an impact with.
Well,
People
there's
at school,
people.
this is-
There's people in my life. One of them sitting right beside me that had such a positive influence over me that you're crazy to think you can leave Gas City. At least this is my concept. You're not going to leave Gas City and forget about everybody that influenced your life.
Right,
I've known you for 50 years. I've known her for over 40 years. You want to keep those people around. You
Yeah.
want to keep them in your life. You want
Yep.
to call them every once in a while. You want to invite them down to Florida and have them go to a race with you, and it just solidifies that friendship. And
Yep.
it's super important to me. And Wilbur's one of those people.
Yeah, and that's and like you mentioned. We know your dad just passed away not long ago, but that's I can think back. My dad passed away 2 days before I turned 10. But then I think of your cousin Chris.
Yeah.
Frank was pretty young when he passed away. Wasn't he?
47.
Yeah.
No, 43.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
43.
My dad was 42. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so it's tough. But Conrad, you got anything to say?
Yeah, I'm sitting here just enjoying your guys' conversation. I am so sorry. I apologize. I came in late. I was tardy.
No worries.
I had to.
Say something to her. She'll get after you about that kind of stuff.
She was bragging. She was bragging when she pulled up because she beat Mike.
Oh,
yeah.
We
okay.
had to travel across town.
Right out of it's already a competition between me and Smith. Right
I like
away.
it. I like it. I like somebody who brings out that competitive nature in me.
Yeah.
I think he and I would race to see who could get to the car first. I mean, seriously.
I'd win, but I'm not going to say. Oh, wait a minute. I just did, didn't I? I already said it. I'd beat her.
No.
She's broken
He's
down.
closer to the car is why.
Oh, okay. All right. That was a strategic move that he did.
Yes,
I noticed he sat there, yes.
correct.
Correct.
Shelley,
Yes.
how far has women's sports jumped since you played?
Well,
Like considering like with high school.
it's jumped. I really enjoy it because it's a lot of fun to watch. Caitlin Clark is,
Oh yeah.
my daughter has tickets for Saturday's game and she's on the court. So
Wow.
her and her husband and their daughter's going to be right there. But, since I've played, it has really evolved. It's gotten better and better and better. And that's because everybody's putting the work in. The coaches are getting better. You want to win. We were talking about before you got here, the participation trophy situation, which Mike and I disagree strongly with, unless you're a little, a Y kid or
Right.
youth. I mean, we get that. But female athletes, there's so many out there that have changed the game. And I know Caitlin Clark keeps coming up now current because look what she's done for the WNBA. They get private jets now. She's selling out the stadiums. I mean, she's done a lot for women's sports. I don't know. I enjoy it immensely. I mean, it's fun to watch. Back when I played, it was fun. It was fun for me, but now it's a lot better. There's more talent. There's more things that you can do.
Why are girls so much harder on each other?
I think sometimes we're a little petty at times, and I don't know. I mean, we are hard on ourselves. We are, and we are emotional. Like guys get mad and they let it go. Not us. We cry.
Oh, I know. You guys remember for a long time.
Yeah, we don't let things slide. Yeah. I can remember one time.
Wait a minute. Did you say you cry?
I probably have. I mean, when we lost regionals, do you remember
You cry?
when we beat Marion, it said Smith leads Madison Grant to her first sectional title. I had double digits. I had a great game. The next week we go play. Smith needs steady hand. I had 4 points. I cried. I cried.
You cried?
I did. I was so disappointed in myself.
Who was that reporter?
Ken Hill. He gave me a minute before he snapped any pictures, though.
So, looking back, when you're going through junior high, high school, was there like a professional female athlete that you admired?
Man, back in the... I think the only thing that we looked at it back in my like 70s and 80s was like gymnasts. That we had a lot of Olympic gymnasts that we looked at.
Because that was pretty much all the professional sports for females.
Yeah.
Right?
Tennis,
well,
gymnastics.
tennis, yeah.
That's,
Mainly gymnastics.
yeah, that's
Was it golf?
Mary Lou. Golf, I don't think it was big back then for females.
No.
But-
Tennis, a little bit of tennis,
Yeah.
but mainly it was gymnastics.
Yep. You remember Mary Lou Retton, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nadia Comaneci.
Nadia Comaneci.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of them. I mean, I don't do any back handsprings.
What are you, like 16 years old?
Oh, I wish. I'm pushing 50, man.
Oh.
I'm pushing it.
Uh-oh. We got a baby.
No comment. No comment from the rest of
Yeah,
us.
that's right.
None.
Mike, who was a professional athlete you kind of really admired back in the day? Like she said, it's easier for guys because there was.
Man, it depends on the sport.
That's what I was going to say.
You know what? I'll think about the posters that were hanging in my room. I had a poster of Pete
I was
Rose,
gonna say Pete Rose.
Mike Schmidt, Walter Payton.
Farrah Fawcett.
No, she wasn't a very good basketball player, so I didn't give a rat's behind about her. I'm trying to think.
Rose Schmidt.
Who am I leaving out? Basketball. Oh, Larry Bird. Come on,
Magic
man.
Johnson.
Larry Bird, Magic Johnson for sure. So those were the ones that I kind of looked up to.
We didn't have that.
You could have liked Larry Bird.
I loved Larry Bird,
Yeah,
but they
he's
wanted
from
female.
Indiana.
Oh, of course. But female. Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah, that's.
Cheryl Miller.
Yeah, Cheryl Miller.
Yeah.
Fair. That's fair enough. Yeah. Reggie's sister.
She was incredibly good.
She was. You're right.
Did you ever hear Reggie tell a story about
Oh,
sat
yeah.
at the dinner table and she came
scored
home,
100 points.
Yeah.
He scored like 50 and she scored 100 same night. That's hilarious.
I remember that story.
That's hilarious.
That's great. But let me throw a little bit of a tougher question at you guys. And we've been letting the female answer first. Conrad, is that protocol?
I don't even. I think everything's equal nowadays. It doesn't matter.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
All right. Okay, here's your question.
All right.
What's a lesson you've learned the hard way, but wouldn't trade it for anything?
Am I going first?
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought I was going first. You
Well, she beat you to it, man.
jump in. He said Mike and then asked the question. You haven't changed any since we've been in school together. None. Here's the thing. When you're an athlete, there's one of two results in your sport, whatever it is. You either win or you lose. And man, lose has a sting to it. The word just has a sting. I don't know of anybody that I've ever competed with in any sport that said they've never lost a game, ever. No way.
No, there's
So
not.
so what I've learned is that life, as a result of the sports I played when I was younger, life is also the same way. There are situations that you win and you feel really good about it, and there's times where you don't win and you lose.
Yep.
And you have to figure out how to manage those things. And I think I've kind of solved the cube, if you know what I mean, in terms of being able to handle a loss. And that just comes with time. It's nothing against the young kids in today's society, but you just have to experience a lot of loss to be able to figure out a way to handle it and be able to move on. And here's what I say. And I do a lot of lectures out on the road and stuff. God gave me two eyes in the front of my head for one reason: to never look back. What's behind me is behind me.
Yep.
I want to learn a lesson. I want to learn a lesson from the loss. I do. I want to learn a lesson. But if I turn around and try to look for what's behind me, my forward progress is going to stop, and I don't want any part of that. I want to keep looking ahead and seeing what's out there. Losing sucks, especially when you're an athlete.
Yeah.
It does. But it also is a way to make you a better human being.
That's good advice.
I think like sports and life, in my opinion, it kind of mimics themselves. So even like starting out younger as an athlete and then being a mother later on in life, I was better as I grew up as an athlete. I got better as a mother as each one of my children were born. So I kind of disciplined myself. Like, I mean, even Coach Holloway will vouch for this lesson. Like, one time I was having a really awful time making free throws. And if you missed your free throws, you ran. So I wasn't disciplined. I let anger get the better of me. And I was always a smiling, happy person. I was having a really bad day. So I threw the basketball. It happened to hit the vent in the gym, was really loud. And he said, "Smith, come here." And he said, "I don't like your attitude." And it reminded me of being like one of my kids. If they would have smarted off to me, I would have done the same thing that he had done. Mm-hmm. He said, run until I tell you to stop. I ran the entire practice. Oh. The whole boys basketball team was waiting in the wings, and they're like, "What did you do? What did you do?" And I said, "Do not mouth off to Coach Holloway. That's all I'm going to tell you." I mean, I learned from my mistakes. Mm-hmm. I think even today with my team at work, I say, let's go team. Some of my girls were behind on work, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to help you. This is a team effort." Mm-hmm. And it comes from the disciplines of coaching and also being coached. Mm-hmm. I think it sets you up to be a more successful adult because you're disciplined mm-hmm. and you're scheduled, and that's how I look at life. I mean, and that's how I kind of raise my kids. Right. And when you first have your child, you make mistakes.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, my first one, I was like, well, I got to figure this out. Yep. And then as I got older, I got better. Yeah. And it's the same way with sports. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I like I said, I think sports and coaching mimics my life, and I carried it over.
Mm-hmm. And that's sports does have an impact.
Yeah, it definitely does. My freshman coach, Don Daly, he by far out of all of my coaches, he's my favorite. Mm-hmm. Don always held me accountable, and it taught me to hold myself accountable. And I've forgotten it mm-hmm. at a point in my life. And when I had my first child is when I started thinking about that. Hey, it's time to get your ass in gear. Do you want to be the father that you had, or do you want to be the father you wish you had? Mm-hmm. And that's what really did it for me. And when you see people who are successful in sports, whether they started or sat the bench, a coach gives those soft skills of your team being held accountable and yourself being held accountable by yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what missing mm-hmm. nowadays. Mm-hmm. A lot of kids aren't participating, and it's always somebody else's fault.
They're on screens. I think Mike and I can even go back even further. I mean, your foundation with your parents, like, Terry and Patsy, they were very involved mm-hmm. in his life. Phil and Sue Smith, my parents, very involved. Like, my dad was my catcher. I pitched, and it was my self-discipline. I had to pitch 100 strikes before we'd go in the house. Mm-hmm. And it was just how we were raised. Now, when you got the awards and when you saw your parents in the stands smiling, I wanted them to be proud of me. Mm-hmm. And I worked so hard. I wanted to play, but I always wanted to make them proud right. of me. And mm-hmm. I know Mike was the same way. Yep. I mean, I know his mother and father very well, mm-hmm. as he knows my sweet parents, but mm-hmm. You always want to make them proud. And I think in today's world, kids don't know how to talk to each other. They text, mm-hmm. and their communication skills are lacking. And it's sad because you're right. There's a lack of participation when there's some really talented people out there if they would just put in the work, mm-hmm.
And that's the key,
Yeah, putting in the work.
You mentioned that earlier, I always tell my kids, you put the work in the off season, you're going to be better right. next year. But a lot of them don't have that work ethic.
Right.
It's just It's changed since we were young.
Yeah, as a father, I think what I really wanted to instill in my daughter, my oldest daughter, was to have an expectation of herself and always set it high. No matter if you fail or not, keep working to get that expectation. And that's where I can pat myself on the back as a parent, because I never once had to tell her to go do her homework. She knew that was her expectation. And now she's going to be a junior at Ball State,
Nice.
getting really good grades. I couldn't even have predicted this, but she has an expectation of herself.
You know, the one thing I think about, generation to generation to generation, there always seems to be, I'll call us the older generation looking back. We're somewhat critical of the younger generation coming up. They don't do what we used to do. And when we were kids, the older generation used to say that about us. And you can go back in time and see the same thing as generations pass on. The thing that I've figured out is you have a choice to make. It doesn't matter if you're in 2025 or 1985. You have a choice to make. Do you want to be better in whatever it is that you've decided to do? Classwork, skills, building houses, playing a sport. Do you want to be better, yes or no? And I'd venture to say you're probably not going to find a whole lot of people say, no, I'm good. I'm just going to just stay right where I am. No, I want to be better because I want to advance myself. What I've learned that never ceases to change generation to generation to generation is there is a level that you have to set as an expectation, and you have to achieve that level, kind of like Shelley was saying about playing catch with her dad. There's a level of expectation that you have to achieve on a daily basis, and the next day you have to move that level up a little bit. When I was playing baseball here in town, I was just a little kid, and I'd look around and say, I want to play against the best players in the city. I do. And then once I got to be good enough to play against them, I'd look around and say, now I want to play against the best players in the county. And once I got, and it just pushed me through, and that doesn't change, whether you've got screens in your hand or you can go online, do all this stuff. Whatever it is you decide to do, whatever it is, you have to figure out a way to make yourself better day after day after day after day. And then when you finally decide, okay, I'm tired, I'm done, I'm going to retire, which I'm getting close to, you can look back and say, yep, I did it. I did it that way. And every kid in every sport, in every vocation can do the same thing. They just have to have the inspiration to do just that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, you set a goal, I hit that goal, time to set a new one.
That's right.
Right.
That's exactly
Keep
right.
going.
So as you're talking, I'm on my screen looking this up, but I remember something. If you practice for 15 minutes a day, every day, you'll be better than 95% of the people who never practice at all. I think that says something. Like
15 minutes is not a lot.
Yeah, that's not.
no,
It's really not. But you talk about a college kid who is out late the night before, has a little, has a little bit too much to drink. I'm going to take the day off. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant never took a day off his entire career, ever. And he's one of the greatest basketball players to ever play.
So reading between the lines, consistency
Right.
over intensity wins every time.
Right.
Being consistent.
Yeah.
I try and be.
I change that to consistency and intensity will win every time.
Okay, I like that.
Both of them. But I totally agree. If it was one or the other, give me consistency and I'll give you a champion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I coached, I learned a lot from my coaches. So I implemented that into my whatever drills we were doing. I got it, from Coach McClure, who was my volleyball coach, Coach Holloway, who was my basketball coach. So when I coached volleyball, I did her drills. I did a lot of her drills to be the feeder program to Wawasee. Well, my daughter Jana was on my team, so she's got that intensity. Her daughter is only 11, but that girl's in camp. That girl travels. I mean, every weekend we're somewhere. And at 11, and she comes over with the volleyball. Grandma, let's pepper. And I'm like, okay, I'll be in the front yard. And the neighbors go by and say, Shelley, aren't you too old to be doing that? And I said, keep going. But yes, I am. But I mean,
You still pepper.
I still pepper. Yes. And I've watched her grow, and I just, Delaney, your skills are developing, and I'm very proud of you of the time you're putting in. And she does. She puts a lot of time in for an 11-year-old. Yeah. She started out as a gymnast. You know how many hours a week she started out when she was 9. Gymnastics, she was in the gym for 12 hours a week.
Yep.
12 hours. And did all these competitions, picked up a volleyball and said, I want to do volleyball. And I said, let's go. I'm your coach. I will help you. So, and now it's exciting. It's fun to watch because you get a little bored, don't you? If you don't get to watch sports, be involved. Boy, it's quiet, and I like to go.
I remember when my daughter graduated.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do now?
I know.
And then now you got grandkids, and it's all coming back around.
Oh, it's fun. It's so fun.
But you guys are sitting there talking about playing catch a minute ago. You know, I saw a video the other day. Some guy, it's like a country song. He's not a country artist, not famous or whatever, but it was called The Catch. And I listened to it, and it was amazing. Because this kids talk about when he's a kid. Said, I'm waiting for Dad to get home. I got my glove. I got the ball. He just worked 8, 10 hours, and he gets out of the car. All right, let's go. And the kid's thinking, in that song, he's like, I thought we was just playing catch. Dad was playing catch up. So it's...
What, are you trying to get us all emotional?
It tugs on your heartstrings. It really does.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to find it.
I've only had 3 sips of beer, and I'm
I'm going to
starting
have
to
to
tear
get
up.
a shot of whiskey or something. Man.
But that's it. Yeah,
Holy
but
moly.
but that's what I mean. That's I've told these guys probably 3 times already. That's somebody's going to come back to them and let them know what they meant to them. But I got to know this though from each of you though. If you could sit and talk with any one person, just to sit and have a conversation, who would it be? It could be a family member, a politician, somebody's
Dead or
famous in
alive?
history. Yeah, dead or alive. I mean, who would you just love to just sit down and chit chat with, like we are?
My mom and dad. Very much so.
You got to say something behind that because I'm still thinking. I'm not ready.
Well, no, like my mom always had these talks, and they just resonated with you forever. She always life skills and everything. She made everything better, And I talk to her every day. And Dad the same way. I mean, Dad in our music. I mean, our family's very musical, and he implemented all of that. And so there's probably, I bet, probably 30 or more musicians on the Smith side because of my dad.
Wow.
So, I mean, just to sit around and you've been there when you've come over and we've just jammed with Dad. His younger daughter, she came and jammed with my dad in Fairmount. It was a good time. I mean, we're all smiling, laughing. And so, yeah, if I could sit down, I love their life lessons. And now I feel like I'm kind of winging it, but I got a good foundation with them, but there are times I wish I could say, Mom, what would you do? Or Dad, what would you do? And then at the end of the day, I do know because I was raised by them. So I know.
Right.
So.
My turn?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw you a curveball. You ready? You ready for it? I don't have anybody. And here's why. All the people that were impactful in my life, I will talk to again.
There you go.
Because I've seen it. I mean, we've talked about that in my book. I mean, I'm sure her mom and dad are just as happy as can be in heaven. I know my dad is. All the people that were positive influences in my life, I will talk to again.
Yep.
So it's just a matter of time.
And if they're still here, you still talk to them.
I do.
One way or the other.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once a month, twice a year, whatever. But
Whatever it is. Yep.
That tears me up, talking about, because my husband and I, I'm going to keep it together. But
You're not going to tell.
we saw him.
Oh, boy. Oh boy.
We went to the hospital.
Yep.
You know, we got the call. We got on a plane, and we thought we were going to say goodbye. You know, and I remember I walked in there. His dad was in there, and they said, "We don't know if he can hear you or not, but try to keep it together." So I tried not to cry. So, forgive me. I said, I walked in there and I said, "Hey, Mike." And I looked at his dad and I said, "Give me a minute." Oh, good grief. I can still see you.
Hold it together.
I know. Ah. And so I walked to the end of the hall and I just prayed and I said, "God, please do not take him. Don't take him. His journey's not done. We need him." I walked back in and I talked to him. We got to visit him. And a month later, he walks out of the hospital. You can't tell me there is no God.
Exactly.
He had a what percentage?
Half.
Half. Yep.
Half a percent.
Half
Yeah.
percent.
I mean, you know, the power of prayer. I had so many people praying for him. We had so many things going on. I mean, it brought the Madison Grant Argyles and the Mississinawa Indians together. Like, we're all fighting for our friend. Everybody's praying. We're printing T-shirts. We're doing everything we can. And, you know, John Mellencamp actually donated some stuff
Yep.
for him. And my niece it came through my niece. She worked with his handler and that was one of his favorite people.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, certainly blessed to still have him. And for when he told me about heaven and what he experienced, you are no longer afraid. I mean, I'm going to be honest, there were times I'm like, I don't want to, you know, I'm scared. Now I'm not.
Right.
You know, when it's my time, let's go, you know.
See, this is a perfect example, not just because of my medical situation, but this is what it's all about growing up in these small towns, in Midwestern small towns, Gas City, Fairmount, whatever it may be, is that relationships like Shelley and I have, they're established when we're kids, and they never stop. They never stop, and that's not by accident.
Yep.
I think that's a product of living in this community where we have values that are similar. All of us do.
Yep.
All
I
of us
agree.
do. I'll give you a perfect example. I said, "Mom, did you lock the car doors last night?" She goes, "I don't ever lock the car doors." I said, "Okay." "Well, you did lock the front door, right?" "I don't ever lock the front door." Now, I say all that, and it's going to get broadcast, and my mom's going to get in trouble. So she is going to lock them from now on.
She has cameras on every
Yeah,
window
But,
and door.
but what I'm saying is, it is so special to grow up here and then go away and see some of the other value sets that are out there, and then be able to come back just, you know, to do a podcast or to visit some friends or something, and know that value set, Ted, it never, ever, ever goes away.
And I
Generation after generation after generation. It's a beautiful thing.
Small communities are they're different.
Yeah.
It's
Who's your hospitality?
yep. You're right. I agree.
Who would you want to talk to, Ted?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Teddy. Who?
You know, that's probably my dad. You know, it's been
There you go. There you go.
my mom never dated or remarried or anything.
Oh,
And you know, it was 2 days before I turned 10. So I can remember playing Little League when I was a 9-year-old, and he was my coach. But that's, you know, and that's back, you know, 9 years old, playing at Lincoln Field and Marion.
Yep. I played there.
And, you know, back then we played against 12-year-olds.
Don't get me started on that. I saw Danny Perry today over in Marion, and Danny Perry, I had nightmares about Danny Perry. I love him to death. He's one of my very good friends. He comes to Florida on his Harley all the time and sees us. But man, he could throw the ball
Yes,
hard.
he could. Yes,
And
he
I was
could.
9 years old, Conrad. I'm 9 years old. He's 12. That's not right.
It wasn't.
That's not right.
you
It
better.
scared the
Made you
crap
better.
out of me, man.
Yeah.
I have this feeling, Mike. I've gotten to know you a little bit over the time through the podcast and, you know, going out and eating with you. Not too much, you know, if it scares you, you're like, I'm going to get used to it.
Yep.
I'm gonna throw this ball just as hard at him too.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, fear's a good thing.
Yeah.
Fears will make you learn something real fast.
That's so true right there.
Yep.
But,
Well, I'll tell you, like the work ethic of like girls softball, when we played our summer league, we were Madison Grant Argyles against Mitchener Indians and Oak Hill, all the Grant County teams. So I was the first one that did the windmill pitching. So back in the 80s, I was pitching about 55 miles an hour because they did a gun, like a police gun, right?
Holy.
So we went against Mitchener, and I struck everybody out.
You got to say that.
Yeah.
No, this is why I'm
She
telling you
couldn't
this.
say it was Eastbrook or Marion or something. She had to say it was
Guess
Mitchener because that's
what?
where I went to school. That's not right.
This
Smith.
is why I'm bringing this up,
That's
because
just
of their
not
work
right.
ethic. The next time, a couple games later, they worked hard. They had somebody throwing the ball hard to them, and they could hit.
nope.
So they got to time it and hit me.
That's not a recovery. You tried to recover and it didn't work.
No, they went from striking everybody out to
Whatever.
hitting the
Hitting
ball.
the ball.
Yeah.
That's so you mentioned the speed on that pitch, but you saw earlier this year that girl from Tennessee, 78.2 miles an hour.
Can you imagine? There's no reaction time. You're bunting.
Oh, yeah,
You're bunting. It's a short ball game. Yeah,
Man.
short ball.
What is wrong with her?
So
What is
wait.
wrong with her?
Let's say we jump in the DeLorean. We go back to your high school days. We throw you in the DeLorean, bring you back in time.
Mm-hmm.
Are you smoking these girls? Because you're going to have the same strength, conditioning coach, and nutrition as all these other girls.
Am I going to be pitching 78 miles an hour if I had the?
It doesn't
No.
have.
Was she? Yeah.
I probably could, if I had all what they had.
Dude,
I mean, I was doing it at 55 without all of that.
yeah.
Welcome to my world. I've known her for 50 years, man. This is how she is.
wow. I got goosebumps
This is
on
how
my
she
arms.
is.
That's confidence. Talk
Confidence.
about that, man.
Dude, she's got more confidence than some guys I know.
Telling you.
I put the work in.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of windmill pitchers. It was
Yeah.
just me, and it was fun. It's hard to time it because your arm's going around.
Yep.
And I remember. Do you remember Lynn? Oh, Lynn Jones. She's going to kill me for this, but one time I pitched a changeup and she saw it coming in. That girl was halfway to me because she was coming for the ball.
Oh.
She doesn't forget
See,
that.
once
She
again,
goes for-
she's going after a Mitchener person.
Lynn,
This
I
is
love
gonna
you.
be like-
I love you, Lynn.
gonna end
No,
up throwing
she's,
down.
she still laughs about that. She goes, "Remember when you threw me that change up and I came at?" Yeah.
But that's, so like we're on softball pitching right now because you were talking about earlier about, a parent said it was his daughter's turn to pitch. But
Yes.
okay, so softball, there's no pitch count.
No.
Nowadays in baseball, there is. You didn't have a pitch count, did you?
No.
You know the
want
one-
me to comment on this? This is
Well, did you
this
know-
just gets in my crawl, man.
I know, but do you know that one time Nolan Ryan pitched 15 innings and threw 235 pitches?
I do.
Ain't that crazy?
And 4 days later, guess where he was? Back out on the mound,
Yep.
starting.
Yep. All right.
Don't give me some riffraff about pitch count.
Right.
We're way too analytical, right? If the guy has a no hit, this has happened several times. The guy has
Yep.
a no hitter. It's the 7th inning, and he just threw a 75th pitch.
Gotta pull it.
He's
Pull
got
him.
2 innings left. He's got a no hitter, and they pull him. And I'm scratching my head, going, "What is happening right now? You're not going to damage the guy."
No.
Nolan Ryan's greatest pitcher to ever play in the game. He struck out, I don't know, 100,000 people or something ridiculous. And just like you said, he'd throw 230 pitches. 4 days later, he's pitching again. Let the kids play. Come on, man. Come on.
Well, and like, you've been in that situation before, and you didn't have to worry about getting pulled, but you're having a really good game. Your adrenaline is just,
Yeah.
don't take me out. Don't let him go. I agree. I mean, that's.
If I'm, and Shelley will agree with this, I know she will, but if I'm a coach and I go out and talk to my pitcher and that pitcher's looking at me, and even if he's thrown a couple balls or walked a hitter or two, he looks at me and he says, "I'm good and I'm going to finish."
Yep.
A good coach can read that eye, read those eyes and say, "Okay,
Yep.
your game,"
Yep. Exactly.
and turn around and walk off the field. But no, we
Yeah.
I
got
feel like Shelley's
Yeah,
not
it's-
leaving that circle.
No, you know what?
No, Shelley's going to finish. She's gonna finish
I
it.
did all complete games. I never got pulled because they deemed it a natural motion, but they didn't even think about it anyway. The windmill's a natural motion that we're not going to get Tommy John or whatever. Now, my nephew is a left-handed pitcher, and he's doing really well. They do pull him on pitch count, and my brother-in-law was a pitcher in college, and he's like, leave him in. I'm his pitching coach. He's fine. Leave him in. So they do leave him in. So what? Because how they leave him in is my brother-in-law decided to coach the team. You're staying. I don't know why. I think, what can they get? Like, what's the pitch count? 50?
There is no pitch count.
Well-
There's no max. You can throw 1,000 pitches if you
I
want.
know, but they pull them for, what number do they get to?
I believe it's 80 right now.
80,
That's
yeah.
what my son
80.
pitched in high
Just
school, too.
ridiculous.
And he would hit 80, and it's like...
Now,
Now,
the
if
youth
you-
leagues
Yeah.
leagues have a count.
Yeah.
But as you get up into high school and college and the pros,
They
no
have-
pitch count. Just go out and get guys out.
no,
Just
they-
get them out.
Because what they would do...
Just get 'em out.
See, IHSAA has it now. So if you throw 81 pitches... You go 80 pitches, you can pitch 2 days later. You throw 81 pitches, you got to wait 3 days before you pitch.
Really?
That's madness.
And-
But
and-
whatever. I
agree.
guess that
I
makes me
agree.
old.
You're like me. I don't like their baseball pants down to their ankles.
Yeah.
They need to wear stirrups and those pants up to
Oh,
your
we
knees.
And all of them need to look the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same shoes like
Same
you mentioned earlier.
shoes.
Uniform.
Walk the same, talk the same. It's a team.
Yep, I agree.
Boy, you're getting me fired
I
up.
know.
I know. I'm getting nervous.
I'm about to open up a beer to calm down.
He's going to throw a ball at you.
Gee whiz. Conrad, I need to get a cold beer out of the fridge.
What would you like, a Bud Light? Or?
I don't care. Something cold and then get me settled down. Since Shelley won't give me a drink, whatever she has.
You can't have any of this.
What is it?
It's Alani, and it's
It's a what?
Alani.
What does that mean?
It's a little energy drink, and you can't have it.
Uh,
I know you. Sorry.
You've been talking to my wife.
Yes, I love his wife, Robin. She's wonderful.
Ted's acting like he's
I love my wife too. She's wonderful. Is this getting broadcast?
Yeah.
Yes, you better give your shout outs real quick to your spouses.
I know.
Yeah.
We both love our spouses.
I'll give a shout out to her buddy Brent. He's awesome,
Yes.
great guy. Love him to death. He's like my own brother,
Yeah.
my
That's
little
Awesome.
brother.
That's awesome.
He's 5'7".
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm 5'7".
There ain't nothing wrong with short people, or is there, Conrad? Short and bold.
I look up to Ted. That's how short I am.
You're shorter than Ted.
No.
He might have a half inch on me.
Uh-oh.
When I'm wearing like tennis shoes
Oh well.
and standing on a phone book.
It's all in your heart. You have
Yeah.
a big heart.
Oh,
Yeah.
gee.
Oh. Stop it.
Shelley, you're funny. I like
I can be.
All right. Before we're done, throw some advice out to the younger generation. Still in high school.
Give some parenting advice.
Oh.
From a
We don't want to be parents in high school.
You're a grandparent, right?
I am.
Are you?
Yes.
Yes. Give some grandparenting advice.
So I'm very involved with my grandchildren, and if you're a grandma and a grandpa and you don't think it means anything to show, it means everything. My two little twins, they're involved in a lot of stuff, and they, as soon as they see me walk in, they're 5, mind you, and they do soccer, basketball, t-ball. They run off the court, their faces light up. Grandma, grandpa, they're so excited. It means everything to show up, and to be involved. And I love it because I see my daughter being a wonderful mother and coaching her kids and putting them to succeed. You got to have the tools,
Yep.
Jana is a good parent and she's a good coach and she loves sports. So guess where Delaney's at every week?
Yep.
But Delaney wants to. I guess my parenting and my grandparenting advice would be just be present and be involved. It means the world to them for you to show up. And I don't care if it's at a skateboard park or if it's at a basketball court, if it's I had a son who was on a chess tournament. He said, you go to everybody's basketball, this is important to me. I went. I sat there and watched him play chess. So just show up.
Man, she's amazing.
How do I go?
And I've only been
how do
here
I
for
go in after that?
Yeah, I've only been here for 25 minutes.
How am I supposed to answer? I will say this much. Here's what people need to remember when you're a grandparent. Those grandchildren that you have, 8, 3, doesn't matter. Everything that grandpa and grandma do is watched. Mm-hmm. Everything.
More so.
What you say, what you do is watched because those kids think you hung the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's just so important that what we say and what we do and how we're involved is something that you want to teach a child, because our kids maybe listened a little bit to their parents, but our grandkids listen to everything we say and do. Mm-hmm. You know, I do things like, come on, guys, we're going to go make breakfast. And they get their little stools out and they get up, stay away from the stove, but they're mixing eggs and doing this and doing that. Come on, guys, we're going out in the garage and we're going to build a birdhouse. Mm-hmm. Those kind of things. It doesn't have to be anything that elaborate, but they're going to watch everything you say and everything you do. And I love that responsibility. Mm-hmm. I absolutely cherish it with every ounce of my being. Every one of my grandkids are going to be like that with me.
Well,
I'm sure yours are.
I want to say this about both of you, okay? I was born in the late 70s and grew up, raised in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. You guys do not look like grandparents. Like the grandparents I remember. Nobody has, like you do not have the updo and smoking of Virginia Slim with Aquanet everywhere.
No, not at all. I've never smoked in my life.
That's outstanding.
And you don't have like the grandpa gut. He sucked it.
In a pipe.
What kind of Smith? I saw that. I saw your response.
I did.
But you guys don't look
That
like the
is
grandparents that I remember when I was a kid. That you know, when somebody was 55, they looked decrepit back then.
Well, we both are blonde, so you know.
Where are you getting my hair blonde?
Platinum blonde.
Oh boy!
See how much he wants to be like me? Did you guys see that?
Oh boy!
There's still a rivalry going on here. I'm telling you.
You have no idea what kind of rivalry.
Shelley,
Now, wait,
thank you for driving all this way.
She said they have to pick the top 3 racers in the Daytona 500 every year.
Oh, and there's
really?
money. There's money. Oh yeah, there's.
Now wait a minute. Hold on.
And the Georgia Notre Dame game, who won?
Georgia
No.
this year.
This year we did. And
Yeah,
you saw us
guys
dinner.
got us. They were good.
You saw
I
us.
know that.
Well, I'm just
we don't
saying.
need to talk about this on this show. What are you
His
doing?
team lost. My team won.
Well, but both those answers you guys just gave, I love them. Like you said, you know, be there. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a grandson that's in band. I
Show
go
up.
to everyone I
Yeah.
go to.
That's right.
And like I said, you know, my youngest grandson, you know, he's just learning. You know, it's t-ball and basketball stuff. I remember after one of these practices, he came up to me and said, "Did I do good, Papa?"
Yeah.
It don't matter how good you did. Yes,
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Like you said, do stuff with them. But you know, what's big to me is affection.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to pick them. I want to hold them up.
Oh yeah.
You know, some of them's too big to do that. And of course, now my oldest granddaughter, if I put my arm around her, she's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
But,
mine's
no.
not like. I have a
But-
19-year-old granddaughter, and she actually her boyfriend races sprint cars.
"Oh,
That is fun. Jetman. Everybody go see him.
Jetman.
Jetman. Yeah, he's a sprint car driver.
Sounds like a sprint car
Doesn't
driver
it?
name.
So his dad was the Hoosier Rocket. So he's the Hoosier
Really?
Rocket Junior. Yeah, he does the series, and he's doing really well. But she texts me, Grandma, you want to go out to dinner? I'm like, Riley, I'm there. I will. She goes, it's late notice, and I said, I will always make time for you. Where do you want to go? And we do.
that's-
We go. We have fun.
yeah." That's what my granddaughter texted me yesterday. She's like, "Hey, Papa, all those new drinks are out of Starbucks. After I have dinner."
Let's go. Yeah.
But yeah, but you know, so affection is big
Papa,
for me.
there's new drinks out at Starbucks. I'm gonna call you Ted tomorrow. Hey, hey, Papa.
You're gonna say what's the new drink at the poorhouse?
They got a new flavor of Coors Light.
That's right.
Had a lemon.
But that's how. But you know, speaking as grandparents, you know, even as a parent, my favorite thing was to pick my kids up, put them on my lap,
Oh yeah.
and read with them.
There you go.
And that just I don't know. But
Kids are fun. You never know what
They
they're going
are.
to say. Ooh.
they are, and it's.
That's even funner.
Oh,
Yeah.
my.
And just like Mike said, you are being watched by them grandkids.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Hopefully you got like 15 years or something before you're grandpa.
Didn't you say you got a kid in college?
Yeah, Savannah's going to be 21 in August. Jersey's 14. She'll be 15 in January. And Naya just turned 2 in March.
Okay.
Oh, you got college all the way down to 2?
Yes.
Oh, my.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I wake up every day and I don't know why I've been so blessed. I just
Good
Yes,
for you.
you do. You know why you're blessed. You're a good person.
I spend more than 15 minutes on it a day.
There you go.
So
There you go. There you
Every
go.
day.
Every
For
day.
a year. For a whole year.
I think we did
Thanks,
more
Mike.
than 15 minutes a day.
It's
Did they lower the standard then for 15 minutes a day? Man, I put hours in.
I know, right?
You know, I do want to say this. I'm going to embarrass Shelley a little bit.
okay.
But having friendships like we have that have lasted over 4 decades and things just don't change, right? You can pick up the phone and call at any time, any day. She's going to pick up the phone and just we'll end up laughing and cutting up, telling stories. Her husband will get on the phone. I'll start BSing with him. These kind of relationships, you just don't have a lot of them.
Right.
And for her and I both to be on the front cover of the hotline
40 years later.
40 years ago, it's just, I am incredibly blessed to have somebody like her in my life, for sure.
I feel like that hotline should be in the Smithsonian.
Well, it's yellow and it's
Yeah.
old, and I had a mullet. And that was the
You
style.
still do, don't you?
No,
Lois?
no, I do not.
Oh,
You've
sorry.
got to bring that back. That's got to be.
Yeah,
the
I
new
think so
grandma.
too.
think-
Do it.
I think it was already brought back. Some of those players have
Yeah,
mullets.
but boys,
that-
not.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, do
Thanks.
it. Do it.
But we had,
No,
like Conrad mentioned it earlier, but was there Aquanet involved that day?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The hair got bigger in the 90s.
Yeah.
You took a pick and then you sprayed it and then you had I was 5'8" with my hair big. I'm 5'4.5", but I mean, we stacked it.
You got to
Yeah.
throw that half in there. Get that half in there. 5, 4.5.
Well, I'm 5'4.5".
How about
I'm
Hey,
5'7" and an 1/8.
There- see, he said
3/16.
8.
I've got light bulbs going off in my head. I'm like, we can make a sitcom right here.
You have no idea.
And if you got our spouses involved, it would be a good one. It would be a good one.
My one daughter, have you ever heard of the Real Blunt Blonde? She's like a comedian. She's really funny. She's got like 1.2 million followers on her page. You never know what she's going to say. Like, she's hilarious. And then her kids are funny too. I mean, they got it from my dad. My dad was like, I never knew what my dad was going to say, but we'd always be laughing. I mean, we laugh all the time. Now, when I make him laugh, like belly laugh, I feel good because I like to make people laugh.
Yep. It's
I try to be, look at I killed the ozone in the 80s.
This sports hotline, your picture is, I need that hairstyle
Outstanding.
back. I need it back.
Outstanding.
It's
It was
outstanding. You're right.
perfectly
That's a good
feathered. Feathered and it met in the back.
yep.
Yeah.
That's the way they do.
Isn't
it.
that pretty?
Did you use one of those unbreakable combs that they used to give you at the
Yeah.
picture day?
Get your
to do
picture
that?
taken.
Oh, that didn't help. Those
I had the metal one, buddy. That's the cat's meow, the metal one. It was metal. It wasn't plastic. It was metal.
no.
You had one too.
Well,
You did.
You know what they did to us? Picture day. Go to recess first.
Yeah.
One year I had a ponytail here and one back here. Mom was like, oh, what happened? I'm like, we went to recess. I was on the monkey bar. Why did they send first graders? Oh, yeah, I'm not kidding. I had a ponytail here and one way back. She goes, maybe they should have turned your head a little bit. I'm like, you can still tell they were off. But
Well,
yeah,
thank you guys. You guys both came
Yeah.
from afar.
Yeah,
Some
we
farther
appreciate
than others, but
Well, yeah, he flew.
yeah.
Great time. Great time. This was.
His arms are tired.
That's right.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, we
You're
appreciate it,
welcome.
guys.
You're very
Thanks.
welcome.
You bet.